I now call to order the March 20th, 2023 meeting of the New Caney Independent School District Board of Trustees at 6 p.m. Let the minutes show that a quorum is present with all members in attendance except for Mr. Mixon. Please rise for the invocation to be given by Ms. Sharp and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and honor the Texas flag to be led by Ms. Purkle.
Good work. Got it.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Item 2 on the agenda is recognitions to be presented by Mr. Calvert.
Yes, sir. Tonight we've got Miss Kozad here from New Caney High School. So Miss Kozad, come on down.
Come stand up here. We're first. We're not sure how to do this. All of y'all, come on. There's 8 of us. Come on up. So I've got to admit, a lot of the things I've been doing the last few months have been a little crazy, but this is really cool. So we're going to start with our adults first. If y'all want to turn around and face the board. So our first teacher we'd like to recognize is Megan Sochek. Not only is Ms. Sochek the AP Human Geography teacher, History Fair sponsor, and an engaging teacher extraordinaire, she recently received the Mary John and J.P. Bryan Leadership and Education Award, which happened to include a $5,000 reward that was presented to her in El Paso last month. The award recognized her for her dedication to the pursuit of social studies education and opportunities for advanced academics for the students at New Caney High School. Megan is all that and more. She is what I refer to as a social studies rock star. We're incredibly proud of her. And by the way, Ms. Sochek, good luck next month at State. Ms. Sochek, this is for you. These are in order, I guess. There you go. Congratulations. All right, next up is our paraprofessional, Tamara Aiken, down there on the end. Tamara is the hub of the downstairs admin office. She supports not only the 3 administrators and counselors and the students she's been assigned to, but she does it all with the sweetest smile. We have an amazing administrative support team at New Caney High School. In fact, when I told her this, she was like, no, not me, give it to somebody else. But the one reason at this point in time I wanted to recognize Ms. Aiken is because she is integral to our graduation and senior activities. She is what I call the queen of all things senior. She's going to get us through graduation and all of our senior activities. We definitely wouldn't be able to pull this off, Ms. Aiken, without you, Ms. Aiken. I'm going to tell you in public, thank you in advance for all you do. Next up, for Child Nutrition Services is Stephanie Gable, down on the end. Our kitchen ladies, under the direction of Crystal Strader, are all outstanding, but since I could only choose one of them, we chose Stephanie for this recognition. She's been in Child Nutrition Services since February 2017, long time and a really hard job. She is always smiling, always visiting with our students when they check out. In addition to what we can see from our side of the cafeteria, Ms. Strader, her manager, shared with me this. She said, Stephanie does things the way they're supposed to be done and truly cares about the presentation of the food and feeding our children. She reports to work daily, comes in prepared to work, and makes sure things are flowing the way they need to be. We appreciate everything she does for our team and kids and every day. And I and the administration team totally agree. Thank you very much. Our last adult is our custodian recognition for Yahara Sanchez. Yahara? There she is. She is our head custodian on our campus. Yahara leads completely by example. She is the first to respond when we call for anyone on the radio. Yahara responds immediately and always with an attitude of, what do you need, where do you need me, and I'll be right there. Always has a smile. In addition to her outstanding work ethic, she leads her staff with integrity and kindness, which is evident by the staff that we have on our campus and their attitude towards serving our school. And that's a result of how she leads them. They take great care of our school. Our parents are always complimenting us on how nice and clean our school looks, and that is completely and totally due to Yahara and her leadership. She is a treasure, a true treasure to New Caney High School. And now for our kiddos. First one up is Brighton Preston. Brighton is a senior. Wave, Brighton. Here we go. He was last month's one of our students of the month last month. Not only is he a team player and a leader on the basketball court, but in the classroom as well. He's an outstanding student. Coach Farmer referred to him as a student of high character. Brighton will be attending UT in the fall, studying computer science. Brighton represents what it means to be an Eagle at New Caney High School. We're very proud of him. Our female athlete is Tasia McGee. There she is. Tasia is a member of the Eagles soccer team and an outstanding academic student as well. When her teammates were asked to name a player who they considered a leader and someone they looked up to, her name was the loudest name that we heard. Tasia will be attending Dillard University in New Orleans this fall to study psychology. Her leadership, academic excellence, and sweet spirit are what make Tasia one of our outstanding students. Our CTE student tonight is Emma LeBlanc. Emma, there she is. Emma excels in many areas. She's in the band, student leadership, history fair. She kind of does a little bit of everything. But tonight we're recognizing her as an outstanding CTE student. Emma will be attending UT Dallas in the fall to study biomedical engineering, an area she came to love through her studies in our health science department. She is an all-around stellar student who has set very high standards for herself. I'm incredibly proud to know her, and I cannot wait to see what she will accomplish. Congratulations. And last but not least is Ryan Miller. Ryan, there he is. Ryan is a sophomore who participates in symphonic and marching band. He's our fine arts student. Ryan embodies the true spirit of being an Eagle. Ryan not only attends all football games playing in the band, but he attends as many other sporting and fine arts events as possible. Ryan is the first to cheer on other teams, wishing each of them well on their adventures. He participates in all pep rallies and can't wait to come to school every day. Ryan Miller is what I say reminds me of absolutely a person of true joy, and he is a joy to have on our campus. So these are our outstanding folks.
All right, next is Porter High School. Mr. Condarco, come on up.
All right. First off, I'd just like to thank the school board and Mr. Calvert for allowing us to be here tonight to recognize some of our fantastic students that we have on our campus, along with some staff members. And also to our parents and our Porter family that came today to support them being recognized here tonight. So thank you. The first person we're going to recognize tonight is our CTE student, and that's Mr. Daniel Sadabia Vallejo. He's a senior. He's involved in 3 CTE tracks: engineering, graphic design, and architecture. He's a model student. He's helpful, respectful, collaborative, and competitive. Daniel is always willing to pull all-nighters for his team and has many times. He always puts in 110% and always has a positive attitude when learning something new. He excels in all 3 of his CTE tracks here at Porter High School and has advanced to state in multiple events this year. All of his CTE teachers agree that he is an amazing student and a joy to have in class. He is a great representative of a CTE student who is using all of the resources here at Porter High School to prepare himself to excel in career and tech fields for his future. Our male athlete is Mr. Zane Adams. Zane is a senior here at Porter High School, and he will be signing with the University of Alabama for baseball. He is ranked in the top 10% of his class. Zane Adams is a 4-year letterman on the Spartan baseball team. He was the 2021 District 21 5A Newcomer of the Year and 2021 Montgomery County Newcomer of the Year. He has been awarded Academic All-District for 3 years. He's ranked 5th in the state baseball player by Perfect Game and 6th baseball player in the state of Texas by Texas Prep Baseball Report. Preseason collegiate All-American first-team pitcher. He's ranked one of the top players in Region 2 by Texas High School Baseball. And Zane plans to major in business, and he is the son of Derek and Amanda Adams. If you haven't come to see him pitch, you need to do so because it's an art form out there when he's out there pitching. So, Mr. Zane Adams. Our female athlete is Miss Rose Kasperzak. Rose is a varsity soccer player. She's also on the cross-country team, and she has played both sports for 3 years. She was first-team All-District in soccer 1 year and second-team All-District another year. She has won the Bolt Award. She's an Academic Athlete Award, soccer for 7 years and seasons. She's been the player of the game 5 times the past 2 years, and her teams here at the high school has qualified for playoffs all 4 years. She's the captain in soccer and cross-country, and she was state qualifying for cross-country in 2022-23, and she has 7 cross-country medals. Not only that, but Rose is also our National Honor Society Vice President. She's a member of the mock trial team, speech debate, Skills USA, HOSA, and FCA, and she's state qualifying in all organizations. She's also ranked in the top 10% of her class. Miss Rose Kasperzak. Our fine arts student is Mr. Brandon Kusaj. Brandon is a member of the Porter High School Band. Brandon has achieved many honors. He was able to be named as a member of the 5A All-State Symphonic Band 3 times as one of the top 5A alto saxophones in the state of Texas, as well as being ranked first in the state his senior year. Brandon also performed at the UIL State Solo and Ensemble Contest where he received a 1 rating and was awarded as Outstanding Performer, an award given to only the top 2 to 3% of 100,000 performers. Brandon also served in the marching band where he was a drum major for 2 years. Outside of band, Brandon also achieved many honors in other clubs. He was able to earn the honor as both a HOSA and DECA state finalist, as well as advanced to the State Skills USA Conference. He served as a DECA vice president and is currently the HOSA and Skills USA EMT reporter. He was also able to become a UIL Academics District Champion in spelling and vocabulary. Brandon plans to further his education at the University of Texas at Austin, where he will major in biology as a pre-med student. Mr. Brandon Kusaj. Next, we'd like to honor our custodial, and that's Miss Lupita Cortez. Ms. Cortez is one of our fabulous custodians on our campus. If you walk into Porter High School, we get so many compliments on how clean our school is from people that come to our gyms and to events that we have on our campus, and that's because of her. She cleans our front office area in particular and always does a superb job of cleaning them and keeping them really clean every day. She's a team player, always willing to help out others, and she always has a smile on her face and goes above and beyond in her job. She is very deserving of this recognition. Ms. Lupita Cortez. Our child nutrition is Ms. Lorena Flores. Mrs. Flores is our cafeteria manager. She is in her first year in this position, and she has done a great job in taking it over. As you all know, it's not easy being a cafeteria worker these days. You don't know what food's coming in from one day to the next, and you don't know who's going to show up to work from one day to the next. And she does a fantastic job of plugging those holes every day in our cafeteria lines. But I think one thing that when I was talking to the kids about her, the one thing that they always say about her is she's always willing to help them out when they need a couple, maybe 50 cents here or there to pay for an extra sandwich or something like that. She's always there to help our kids when they need something. So I'm very deserving of this, Ms. Lorena, and we really appreciate all the hard work that you put into our cafeteria. So Ms. Lorena Flores. Our paraprofessional is Ms. Jessica Garner. Ms. Jessica Garner is my secretary, and she also oversees our front office paras. Ms. Garner is we call her desk the watering hole, and I know she's going to get mad at me for saying this, but she's a magnet. She's a people magnet. They always want to come and talk to her. They're at her desk, and so we always make fun of every time we walk by. There's like 5 people deep trying to talk to her. But anyway, She is always willing to help others when we are short with workers. She is a person on our campus that people come to as she knows the answers to everything. We could all leave, and as long as Ms. Garner is there, the school will run fine. Her attitude is contagious, and she makes people laugh and always looking at processes that can be better in the front office. Jessica is vital to the success of our campus, and we love having her here with us at Porter High School. Ms. Jessica Garner. And last but not least is our teacher, and that is Ms. Christine Alford. Ms. Alford is one of our math teachers on our campus. She also serves as our department chair. Ms. Alford is very well respected on our campus with both teachers and students. When you walk into her class, you will see students engaged and see her passion in her teaching. Her department is a tight-knit group who enjoy each other's company outside the classroom. Every time you see our math department walking around the campus, there's at least 4 or 5 of them walking together, and that's because of her culture that she's brought to that team. Mrs. Alford is a rock star on our campus, and we are glad she's a Spartan. Ms. Christine Alford.
All right, next is Miss Bridget Honey, West Fork High School.
Thank you, New Caney ISD Board of Trustees. Tonight is another round of firsts for West Fork High School, made possible by you guys. Our first group of students and staff to be recognized by our New Caney ISD Board for their commitment to our district, their respective disciplines, their assignments, and their overall contributions to our school. First, I'd like to start with our students. I'd like to start with Alex Rivera. Now, might I remind you that all of these students are 9th graders, and boy, have they rose to the occasion. Alex is involved in choir, band, and theater, and as a freshman, advanced to the 3rd round of auditions for state competition and region choir. To top that, Alex also advanced to the final round of state auditions, again, competing as a freshman for just a few spots in the all-region band. Alex was recently featured on the Inspired Education video for the New Caney ISD Fine Arts. His feature video captured exactly why Alex is recognized as the West Fork Fine Arts student. He uses his passion for music to inspire him to be better each and every day, therefore inspiring others. Thank you for being who you are, Alex. Your passion for music brings joy to those around you, and we can't wait to see how far you go next year. Next is our career and technology education student, Abigail Goolsby. Abigail has been an outstanding leader in our FFA program and has played an important part in establishing the first FFA chapter at West Fork High School. Abigail serves as our chapter president and leads by example, showing livestock as an FFA member, participating in the leadership development quiz team, and is also a member of our livestock judging and milk quality career development team. Thank you, Abigail, for your leadership and commitment to start our chapter, for setting up our program and encouraging others to be part of our West Fork FFA. All right, one of our athletes that we would like to recognize is Anna Sophia Abshire. Anna is small but mighty. She's made a positive impact on our Gator athletic teams. This young lady has excelled as a three-sport athlete in volleyball, track, and powerlifting. Anna Sophia understands the importance of academics and pursues excellence in the classroom as well as all of the other activities she's a part of. She's involved in student council, FFA, and will soon be an NHS inductee. Coach White said this about Anna: "She is a hard-working athlete who's always thriving to grow herself both individually and encouraging her teammates to be better. Anna Sophia exhibits great leadership and perseverance. Anna, thank you for always striving to be your best and help others be their best." Next is Colin Snyder. Colin is actually playing his final soccer game tonight at West Fork, but I wanted to recognize a few of his leadership qualities. Colin's leadership ability is a huge asset to the West Fork High School athletic program. He's courteous, respectful, and a great communicator who truly cares about people. Colin represents himself, his family, and West Fork High School with pride, class, and integrity. Coach McDougall also added this about Colin: "Colin is a true champion in all facets of his life and has a gift for working with and leading people." Congratulations, Colin, and thank you for your leadership, and good luck tonight. Now for a few of our staff members. It's a pleasure to work again with this special lady, Miss Sylvia Beard. Miss Beard is our child nutrition manager, and what I appreciate about Miss Beard is the way she leads her team, of course, the great food, and most importantly, the great relationships that she has with her staff and students. She's empathetic, compassionate, and understanding. She leads by example and is always so helpful. Last semester, when we were hosting our 8th graders that were headed to, that are coming or joining us at West Fork, I asked her if she could help feed an extra 450 8th graders that were visiting from Woodridge. She never missed a beat, she never hesitated, and she said, "Sure." Thank you, Ms. Beard, for your service to our kids and our staff. Next is our custodial, Ms. Maria Baez. We wish to recognize Ms. Baez as part of our support services staff, and we want to thank her most importantly for being a role model to each of us, even myself. Your hard work, your positive attitude, and your daily contributions make West Fork a great place for kids. Your work is noticed and evident. Ms. Roxana Dean said this about Ms. Baez: "Maria is helping from one end of the building to the other. Wherever she's needed, she goes wherever we need her." Ms. Baez is someone that you don't have to follow up on either. You can trust that any task that you give her is done right and done to the highest standard. Thank you, Ms. Baez. Next, I would like to recognize an important instructional support person, Ms. Francias Macias. Ms. Macias has risen above and beyond expectations with her daily support of our emergent bilingual students. She is an advocate for their learning and has created a positive collaborative team with the team of teachers that she supports. Ms. Macias volunteers to tutor our ESOL students in the mornings and help in any way in whatever classes they need help. She's an important reason of why our students have a strong sense of belonging to our campus. Thank you for your continued support, Ms. Macias. Next, certainly last but not least, is Ms. Brittany McCloskey, our teacher. Ms. McCloskey is a teacher and coach at West Fork High School. Ms. McCloskey serves everyone she meets by giving 100% in all things. And if you know the responsibilities of a teacher and coach, sometimes that's difficult. She figures out a way to make it work for planning in her role of department chair, planning department meetings, planning thoughtful lessons, working with other teachers, teaching her biology students, and always making sure that what she's teaching, she gets excited about because she knows her kids will be excited about it. She leads by example, never thinks of herself, and is always looking for ways to encourage the person next to her. Your selflessness and optimism are contagious. Thank you, Ms. McCloskey, for the role model that you are to the young girls on and off the court or fields and in the classroom.
Item 3 on the agenda is consideration of out-of-state trip for Porter High School DECA, presented by Mr. Condarco.
Thank you again. Just wanted for you guys to consider, there's two of our students, Justin Kendrick and Alden Garcia. They have had the opportunity to compete at DECA International Career Development Conference in Orlando, Florida from April 22nd to the 26th. Out of over 240,000 students that are DECA members, they're the top of the top. They will compete with about 15,000 other students from all over the country. Both are graduating in May and will be attending UT Arlington to pursue a degree in business. So we're just asking you to please consider allowing them to attend this competition in Orlando.
Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve the out-of-state trip for Porter High School DECA?
So move.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Item 4 on the agenda is delinquent tax report presented by Mr. McRae. All right, sorry, Alan's gonna come in.
Howdy, I'm Alan Bush with Linebarger, and I only wish I could be as cool as our Director of Operations, Mr. Jeff McRae, who's here with us tonight. We've also got our special agent, Maris Blair, here as well. She does all kinds of great things for us with different foundations and the like. So without them, we couldn't do what we do. So I'll keep this short because I know nobody really wants to hear from the tax guy, all right? So we're a little bit late on our typical annual board report we'd usually do in October. I really appreciate the grace. Last year in October, I was having a significant surgery for cancer. And as if I did not believe in miracles before, I sure as heck believe in them today. So, on with the board report. So what that means is this report is not going to cover a 12-month stretch like they ordinarily would, October 1 through the end of September. This report instead covers those extra couple months that we missed. So we're in the range of nearly 18 months on this board report. And there are really 3 big news stories out of it. The first one is that our deferrals are massively up. The second one is our litigation efforts are also significantly up. And the third one is our tax roll is healthy. Over on the first page of text that says delinquent tax roll stats, this is where you're going to see some of the details on the first 2 news stories. What a tax deferral is it basically is an all-stop on collection activities. We've talked about these in a couple of board reports before, but there's no demand letters that can be sent, no suits filed. If somebody goes down to the appraisal district and files an affidavit that says, hey, I'm over 65, or I'm disabled, those types of folks are entitled to a all-stop on their tax collections. That used to be 17% of the delinquent tax roll last year. This year, it's up to 24%. So almost a full quarter of our tax roll is on the no-touch lists. That's a big news story because it means there's less that we can be collecting from. Second news story is litigation activity is up. We've filed significantly more suits over this stretch month by month than even last go round. So we're getting very aggressive in moving forward to try to put taxpayers on notice, hey, please come chat with us. We'd like to get these taxes resolved. We're nice folks and we're happy to help you out with it. And the last news story is over on the next page with the pie chart. This is your healthy tax roll. What it shows is that 63% of your tax roll includes the last 3 tax years. And that's important because we want those most recent years to be the lion's share of the roll. The most recent years are the most collectible. When they start getting stale, it can start to be a problem. So we're looking healthy, we're looking good, and all of the rest of the charts really just kind of show you what performance looks like, that's roughly in line with where we've been the last couple of years. Any questions?
Our tax bill healthy, looks good, and I think I speak for everyone here that we just hope the same for you. Sure is healthy to start because we appreciate you so much and attitude and faith in the system.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Prekel. I really appreciate it. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. If there's no other questions, I'll leave it to y'all.
Thank you, Alan. Appreciate that. Item 5 on the agenda is Superintendent's Report, presented by Mr. Calvert.
Yes, sir. Tonight I've asked Ms. Waldrop and her team of folks to come just give us an overview, sort of a special ed 101, if you may. So she's got her team with her tonight, and she's going to share with us some information that I think could be very informative about special ed, some processes, their setup. And so I'm going to turn it over to Team Lori, as we call it around here. Lori with an I and Lori with an E. So.
My part is going to be really brief. We have an amazing director, and I'm going to turn it over to her shortly. I just wanted to express my appreciation for the opportunity to share some information from this department, group of hard workers, and for Lori Waldrop to make some introductions tonight.
Thank you all so much for the opportunity to stand before you today, and I am honored to introduce our dynamic team of leaders that do lead the special education department. So we have Ms. Jasmine Matthews. She's our coordinator of secondary instruction. We have Megan Schur. She's our coordinator of behavior services. Then we have Amber Snyder, who is our coordinator of assessment and compliance. We then have Ms. Melissa Benetti. She's our coordinator of elementary instruction. And then we have Ms. Brittany Hamilton. She is one of our behavior specialists that works alongside Megan. And then we have Taylor Adams. He is our specialist for secondary instruction. Ms. Tia Harris is our lead diagnostician, and she leads all of our diagnosticians well alongside Amber Snyder. Next to her is Cassie Lee. She is our lead SLP, which is our speech language pathologist. So she leads our speech team. And then we have Ms. Chantel Schrader. She is our specialist over elementary instruction. Next to her is Mr. Nikolai Morgan, and he is our lead licensed specialist and school psychologist. So he leads all of our psychologists. And then we have Ms. Jen Reed, and she is another of our behavior specialists who works hand in hand with the behavior team. So I could not be more honored to work alongside one of the most qualified, high caliber people that I've had the honor of working with in my 24 years in education. So very thankful for this dynamic team. Thank you, guys. Again, I am honored to be here today to share information about the special education processes. So I did share, hold on, which way do I point? This way? We said it worked. There it is. That was our team. I do want to share our mission statement. Our team worked endlessly on trying to really put into words where our heart and our soul come from to serve our students in the special education department. So the New Caney ISD Department of Special Education, we are dedicated to innovative individualization and inclusive practices to promote student independence. Ultimately, our job is to ensure that the students who leave our district have the skills that they need to be as independent as possible on their own beyond the walls of New Caney ISD. Within our district, we do provide a continuum of special education supports, and the most important thing I want us to see on this triangle is that we are charged with providing as much support as a student needs, more restrictive down that triangle, but as quickly as possible, we're going to teach them what they need to move them back up to the top of that triangle so that they are the most successful and independent as they possibly can be. In special education, we are charged with specially designed instruction. That's what sets us apart from the 504 world, the RTI world that Lori will talk about here shortly. We are charged with that specially designed instruction through supports, through staff, through instruction, and through curriculum. I wanted to share with you all today what that looks like across our district. And I know the words are very small, but ultimately this is the continuum from our students receiving supports in the general education environment all the way through supports within a special education setting. So you'll see it starts with our littles, our 3 and 4-year-olds, and it goes all the way down to ACE, which is our adult continuing education program for our 18+ students who still have goals to work on to address transition into the community and the workforce. We have these set up as the qualification guidelines, academic guidelines, as well as the behavior guidelines, and then you'll also see listed the setting in which those services are provided. I want to talk a little bit about our caseload growth. As we know, we are a fast-growing district, and this data that I'm presenting will be from a growth period of 2018 until the current year. So we have seen, as you all know, New Caney ISD has grown 19% overall student population since 2018, and our special education population has done as much and more in growing the number of students that we are now serving through special education services. So we have a 63% growth over the last 5 years in terms of students we're serving. When we look at the total teacher growth, we've seen a 16% growth in our total teacher, close to that with the gen ed teacher, and then our special education teacher growth has seen a 22% increase to meet the needs of our 63% growth. We still have some work to do in that area to be able to provide the services that are required by each student's individual education plan. So we also have seen some caseload growth, and I want to speak specifically to caseloads for our assessment staff. So as we mentioned earlier, we have diagnosticians, we have our speech pathologists, and we have our school psychologists who are all part of a multidisciplinary team to provide evaluation services for students who may be suspected as having a disability. And so over the last 5 years, and projected into what we know based on our numbers we're seeing right now into the start of next year, our special education student population has seen 104% growth in the last 5 years. We were at 1,289 students served, and we are projected to be in October, we'll be right at 2,600 students served through special education. So we have more than doubled our population served. In the initial evaluation, and we're going to talk a minute about what that process looks like and how students do receive that evaluation for special education, but we have seen over the last 5 years an 100% increase in the number of evaluations that we are required to complete in a school year from that 2018 year. Reevaluations are required every 3 years for our students who are already eligible. So students who have had an evaluation, we are charged with every 3 years repeating, looking at, seeing if there's anything that's changed, any additional information that we need to look at in order to make the best plan for our students. And so we've seen a 68% growth in that, and then our total evaluations have grown 84%. When we're looking at the caseload of evaluation staff to student, so we're looking at one evaluator and the caseload that they hold to serve through either the evaluation process. So our diagnosticians, they are responsible for administering our cognitive and achievement assessments for our students, determining where that student is functioning cognitively. We have seen 115% caseload growth in the last 5 years. And then our school psychologists, they work very closely with our medical professionals at times to determine if a student may have a medical condition that is impacting them, maybe through ADHD, an emotional disturbance. They work with a lot of our students who have significant behavioral needs as well in determining what it is, what's the function of that behavior and what do they need to be doing to be able to address that. And so we've seen a 43% increase in the school psychologist caseload. And then as speech pathologists, they're a little unique in the evaluation team. They complete the evaluations for our students to determine if they have speech and language needs. And in addition, they are also the implementer of speech therapy services. So oftentimes they've got a caseload that fills up 4 good days, and then they have that additional time to do the ARD preparation and the evaluations. And we have seen a 53% increase in that as well. I want to talk a little bit about the evaluation and the ARD process, the admission, review, and dismissal process. We are governed under IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, so federal law, and we have our state guidelines as well. This is directly from TEA, and this is the first step in the evaluation process. What I want to draw attention to here is there are a couple of ways that our students may come through for a request for an evaluation. The first step will be through a campus-based, what we call care team, would make a referral based on data that they have that would then warrant the need for an evaluation. The other piece is the written or verbal request by a parent. And so Lori Monroe is going to talk a little bit about what options there are for services that we're already providing at the school that oftentimes that parent request for an evaluation jumps over, so to speak. So the most important thing on this is that we do have 15 days in which to respond to any verbal or a written request for an evaluation that comes from a parent. And so we have to respond. Are we going to, yes, move forward with an evaluation? The data that we have is substantial enough that would warrant a student being looked at in terms of services they may require? Or do we, as district professionals, have data that shows this is not a valid request? And at that point, we would provide what's called prior written notice of a refusal to evaluate. So those are our two options through the request piece. And then I'm going to let Lori.
Yeah. So the next slide, really what we're talking about tonight is really the arrowhead, right? That's our special education services. But prior to that point, there are a number of services that we can provide to our students and to our families still in the general education setting. And I think that that's an education piece that we're continuing to work on because we have Tier 1 supports which are working in the classroom to ensure that all of our best practices are in place. And then we can move to Tier 2 supports for those students who might be struggling in a particular area. And then we can move to Tier 3 supports, which are more intensive, individualized supports. All of that can be provided in the general education setting. Moving between those tiers of support is always data-driven, and Evelyn Sifford is our Director of Special Programs, and so that's kind of her world. The different tiers are her world prior to getting into the special education arrow. And I think that it's important to understand all of those because sometimes a parent comes in and they're just asking right away. They're giving that verbal or that written request to have an evaluation done without necessarily understanding what are all the supports that can be put in place for their child before we get to that point. And so the next slide that you have in your presentation is really one of those communication tools that was developed this year that we can give to a parent when they're making an initial request, just to ensure that they have a little bit of information about what is available to them in the general education setting before we're taking the big leap into that whole evaluation process that I'm going to turn back over to Lori, and she's going to talk more about that.
So as we continue down this timeline, once we receive that request for an evaluation, we have 45 school days to complete that evaluation. And in the event a child is absent for 3 or more days, we're allowed to add that time to the end of that timeline as well because the child has not been available for a chunk of time that we otherwise would have had with them to complete an evaluation. After the completion of that evaluation, once that evaluation is complete, and we're going to talk about what that looks like here shortly, we have 30 calendar days in which to hold the initial ARD meeting, the admission review and dismissal meeting. And at that meeting, we will discuss proposed goals and objectives, a proposed plan, what kind of support is required, either through accommodations, modifications, if staff is required to provide that specially designed instruction. And on the very end of this continuum, the most important thing is we have to obtain consent for a student to receive special education services. So once the plan has been devised, it's been presented in that ARD meeting, we cannot begin any kind of services until the parent provides that consent for us, for their child to be in special education. I want to talk a little bit about the evaluation staff. I talked a moment ago about the multidisciplinary team that's involved in an evaluation for a student. So we're talking about one student's evaluation in that 45-day timeline. So as you can see, there is formal testing and scoring that we have parent and teacher interviews that we conduct. There are classroom observations. We do a really dynamic job of collaborating with the RTI team and any of the 504 teams, as well as reaching out to the physicians for any medical information. We also spend time with test interpretation. We're writing the actual report, some of which, depending on how many people are involved, could be upwards of 60 pages, depending on what all is involved in that. Then our team sits down and they synthesize that data. So all of our professionals sit together and determine how that data comes together to paint the true picture for the disability for this child, if there is one present. And then those report reviews happen. Once the report is complete, we offer up a review with the parent to sit down with them and explain what the results of that evaluation are. And we also offer up that time with the campus team as well, so that that team can then prepare for a plan. We have now the disability. Now we need to determine how does that disability impact our student in the classroom. And then we have staffings prior to having ARD meetings to pull together all that information that we have already shared with the parents in one full voice as we go forward in determining what it is that's going to work best for this child. And then we hold the ARD. So I wanted to list out just for you, these are our evaluators that could be involved in any of that multidisciplinary team report. And I listed across the top some of the most common evaluations that we see coming through. Most specifically, we have the specific learning disability, and that does include the dyslexia. Dyslexia is, as of February of 2022, dyslexia evaluations, there's a one pathway which is under special education. Historically, we could have gone through 504, but even initial evaluations are now a one pathway through, which has also contributed to the increase in the number of evaluations that we saw previously. So in that SLD, we have a diagnostician and the dyslexia evaluator. And if you will notice at the bottom, I have totaled for you how many collective hours that multidisciplinary team spends in determining that evaluation for the one child. Again, this is one child. So if a student is suspected as having autism, you can see we've got almost the whole alphabet soup that we like to call it, and it could very well take 50 hours or more in that compilation of that entire evaluation for the one child. And then I won't read all the others to you, but those are the others in that category as well. So an evaluation to ARD timeline. So I've talked about the evaluation process, who all's involved and what that timeline is. I want to talk about how do we get to the ARD to then ultimately get our services implemented. So this is that 30-day calendar day timeline. We have the FIE complete. Again, that is no later than the 45th school day from when we obtained consent from the parent to evaluate. And then we do hold that staffing that I talked about. We're doing that 2 weeks ahead of time, ahead of the ARD, because we do need time for our staff members to generate goals, to determine what accommodations are the most appropriate for the student as well. And then again, I talked about that review of the report with the parent. We do that at least 5 days before the ARD meeting, so they have all of the information going into the meeting as well. And then we do send home what we call the parent bundle, which is the proposed IEP that is sent to the parents. So any accommodations, any goals and objectives, modifications that might be required, any supplements. There's some supplements that also go with some of our disabilities, and any of that we've prepared ahead of time, they have access to that as well. And then green for go, right? That's the initial ARD, no later than the 30th calendar day from that completed evaluation. And I wanted just to point out, that we currently, right now, as we stand today, have 364 initial evaluations that are active. Those also will be due by the end of the school year, is where we are sitting right now. So what are our current challenges? I know that we are, timelines are our challenge right now. We are not meeting all of them, if I'm being just honest and upfront. We have growth, as I mentioned, in the district. We have changes that have been occurring in our legislation that have just put us up against a little more than we can handle right now. But I will tell you that our team, they are digging in, they are doing the work, and we are doing everything possible to ensure that our students do receive services as quickly as possible through this initial process. COVID recovery, yes, we're still there, right? We still are. And I think that has also been the increase of our parent requests, as we have parents who got to see just some reality of what life is like, and now we're seeing our students who are behind. And so it's not directly related to a disability or an identified disability, it's definitely that COVID recovery still. So I did mention that legislation, the February 22 legislation of dyslexia included under special education. I only see that becoming a greater and greater responsibility under special education. We are the only state in the nation that does not recognize or had not recognized dyslexia under the special education umbrella until 2022. We are operating under, the state of Texas was under a corrective action from the federal government. And so that was, we had a lower evaluation rate than any other state in the nation, and we believe that it is due in large part to, and as we're seeing, due in large part to the fact that dyslexia was not considered special education. So we can only see that continuing. Services and all those things, I think, will at some point make their way under the special education umbrella. And then those requests for evaluation. Our parent requests do outweigh our care teams and the requests that come from the schools. And so we have been working hand in hand with Evelyn Sifford's team. We have talked about how do we continue to educate in our parent symposiums and all of the things that we have coming up. What are those things that are available that can genuinely show progress for our students that may not require this timeline as I laid out for you? If we get evaluations signed or consent signed in October, we could very well be looking at a February timeline of a due date prior to that evaluation being complete. So there are hosts of things available within the school setting that they can access prior to that. It does require that substantial data to reject or refuse that request. I wanted to end on some exciting stuff. I know that's a little bit heavy, and it's a lot of information if this is not your love and your language, and I hope you can hear my heart. Special education has been my life's work for almost 24 years now, and I will tell you that it is my responsibility. I say often that when Mr. Calvert, that you all hired me into this position, I am responsible for that one kid, and I am going to do everything that I can for that one kid. And so these are the things we get to do to show off those kids and everything they're doing. A big ol' kudos out to Jonathan Powell and his team at Kiefer Crossing. This is, I believe, their third year. I don't know if Jonathan's still here. Third year, yes? Third year for the Festival of Awareness. I think I met you at the very first one several years back, and it is a time where the general population gets to experience what it's like to have a disability. And so they have stations and all sorts of activities that really are eye-opening to many in what barriers our kids face and how then we're responsible for helping remove those barriers. We have Sunshine Day at the East Montgomery County Fair we're super excited about. They shut down the fair to just our children with disabilities, and so we will have tennis shoes on and ready to roll. Our entire district from 3-year-olds all the way up through our adult students, our 21-year-olds. Jasmine Matthews has been just working diligently with our transportation department to get it done. And a big old shout out to transportation. We could not do the things that we do for these kids, and I don't want to see what Blake's face looks like back here, but I will tell you, without them, we could not do the work that we do for these kids. And so these are things that our students would not be able to participate in otherwise if we didn't present that opportunity for them. Expo is a day at Porter High School, and I would invite you and encourage you to come out. It is our secondary students in our life skills program, which we call Aspire, and they get to participate in all sorts of gross motor sensory activities. It's a big fun. I know our elementary PE teachers and I believe other PE teachers across the district help host stations for them. And then we're excited to host our second parent event this year. Our first was in the fall, and kind of an awareness and got information out to our parents, and now we are looking to kick it up a notch, do some real targeted trainings, invite some organizations and agencies in to be able to share information with our families and then spend time answering any questions that they have. So, do you all have any questions?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you for putting that together. It's great to see your team, and I can tell there's a lot of excitement among them. It takes a lot to come and put this together. We appreciate it. One of the things I noticed is that you said we sometimes fail to hit the mark, that's a hard thing to admit, not only for you, but for the district that we miss a mark.
Absolutely.
So the fact that first thing to recognize if you have a problem is to admit that there's
Absolutely.
So you may not want to share it in this setting, but I would be interested to know, in your professional opinion and your life's work of 24 years,
Yes.
is there something that we could do to support you as a board to put into place that would help you solve your problem? Because I know that burnout is a big
Absolutely.
issue. A lot of my friends are educators,
Yes.
and they talk about their own burnout in the general ed, but I have some that are in special ed in this district and others, and burnout is an issue. So I'm wondering from you, in a professional opinion, what is it that we could do as a board to support you more? You may not want to answer that today, but if you'd like to, we would all love to hear that.
You know, first off, the support is fantastic. Thank you for in asking the question. I would probably like to take some time to answer that. I do know that that filling vacancies has probably been one of the hardest things right now, and it's not unique to special education. It's across the board positions. It's not, those kind of things are hard to come by right now, and so we can definitely, I can think on that for sure.
We would like to hear.
I would love
you
that.
On that. Is it the staffing issue? Is it related to compensation? Is it related to just that there's no pool to pull from? Is that it?
I think it's probably all of the above.
Maybe go to your team and
yes,
ask them.
I would like. I would love the opportunity. Are they raising their hands and nodding? Yes. Yes. I would like to say for sure that. We are in a staffing crisis, for sure. I would say in our vacancies, we have had the opportunity to hire contract personnel as well. That is something that we fund through the federal budget. And we're hiring them and firing them as quickly as they come in. I will tell you, paperwork, the caseload, and the amount that is expected of our team contributes 100% to the burnout, yes.
And that's not required by the district. That's required
that is a federal
by the statute.
That is a federal statute, yes, ma'am. And
I would really love for you to visit with them. Maybe you'll have like a workshop, lunch, or something.
Yes, we do like each other, so that will be great, yes.
Along with the rest of the board,
I would love the opportunity to spend more time visiting with you all about all of that.
What it is that we could put into place that could help you.
Absolutely.
That job is overwhelming. I knew the numbers were big, but I had no idea they were that staggering. But we would really like to hear that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge the hours.
Yeah.
My husband does this.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many sleepless nights we have seen to prep for art after art after art after art. That we were up till 2 o'clock this morning. I'm exhausted.
Yes.
He has art today. He does AI for us.
Yes, yes.
So thank you.
It is.
I mean, it takes hours to prep for an art.
Yes.
Like hours.
Correct, yeah.
And if you have 364 students waiting, I can't think of the hours that you guys have ahead of you for that.
And we are coming up with some pretty creative ways to address the compliance components, but when we address that, some other pieces are going to fail. And so we're coming up with the best plan that we can lay out, and I would welcome more time.
We're committed.
Absolutely.
All of us are.
Wonderful.
To helping you with that.
How long do you foresee COVID recovery still being an issue?
I wish I had that. I wish. I think you can speak to that even probably in the medical side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I fill out the papers.
Yeah, she does fill out our papers,
I fill out
yes.
papers. But
Yes.
absolutely, because what we see medically is what you're seeing educationally.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
3 years behind.
Yeah,
We've got kids development.
yeah.
Social isolation.
Yeah, and as Lori mentioned, for sure, we're really looking at Tier 1 instruction, Tier 2 instruction, those kind of things. And when we still see kids struggling here, it doesn't mean disability, right? But right now, the answer everyone thinks is academically, socially, behaviorally, the answer is special education. And that's not the answer. So we really need to make certain that we're looking at the child as a whole and determining what we need to do for that group of students who, Evelyn puts it so beautifully, the ones that float to the top, that are like, oh, these kids have actually come back down to where they needed to be. And the ones that float to the top, those are the kids that require that specially designed instruction. So I welcome more time, absolutely. I would love to be able to spend time just kind of sharing my thoughts, my heart, and ideas on what we can do to move forward, because I will tell you, I'm not a job hopper. I am here for a reason. I know I was 20 years in my previous district, and I can tell you I'm committed to the work of this district. I'm committed to the work of what we need to be doing right by kids and by families, and it's important. It's absolutely important that what we do is to give our kids a voice and a place in this world and in this community and in our schools, and we will continue to do that. And I'm beyond a shadow of a doubt, I know that the team behind me, they're the ones that are always supporting, and we're supporting each other, and I know that they're out there doing the same work for that one kid. So,
Thank you very much.
yes, thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
also?
sir.
So the uptick is 115%.
In
So
special
in
education
special
growth,
education,
yes.
So now that's a 5-year factor. So
Yes.
could that number have been lighter in the earlier years and it has just upticked due to the new legislation and the dyslexia? Could that have thrown those numbers, or?
I think it's as a whole. I think we're seeing our district is growing. We are roughly right now, we're about 11.5% of the population. And so as we continue to grow in New Caney, we should be seeing that about 11.5. And I anticipate it to grow even greater as we continue to do more of the dyslexia.
What drives that?
What drives?
What drives a 115% increase?
Are they coming from other districts, or are they?
I'm sorry?
Are they moving out of other districts coming here?
There are
What's
people.
the factor? This is a big number.
It is a big number.
This is a giant number for us to expect, for you to have an increase of 63.7%, but only new teachers at 22.4. This is an overwhelming number here.
Right.
And so if the dyslexia is what's driving the new evaluation of the new legislation, that's fine. But there's got to be another factor that's driving this number. Is it because we're that good at doing your job? Where
We
people
are good.
coming here? There's got to be a factor. These
Right.
numbers are very,
We're
very
not the
high.
only district that is seeing this kind of growth. Growth in special education is pretty global as we speak right now. And so, yes, dyslexia is a factor. I think parent requests,
COVID?
yes, and I was going to say the power of the request is also, is what has increased the increase in our evaluations for sure, that a parent can make a request. And I will tell you that the time that it takes to get the substantial data to say, no, we're not going to, we could have ultimately been denying them access to a free appropriate public education, which is what we're charged with, FAPE, if we rushed through a refusal of that evaluation. So it is very hard to determine if the request is appropriate or not. And if we had the time and the ability to do that, then I think we could see a little bit of the decrease. But I will tell you right now, we're working where we can. So our D&Q rate has fluctuated. It's usually between about a 7 and 10% D&Q rate, which is a do not qualify. And it does fluctuate. I have not done that math right now, and it is a moving target. That's the hardest thing. Right now, we have 364 student evaluations open right now, and I will tell you, as they're closing, we're still getting more. So throughout the entire year, I have been looking at our open evaluations, and at any one point in time, we have between 330 and 370 evaluations. So as many as we are either completing or qualifying, we're getting as many requests and referrals from the whole process as a whole. So
3% growth didn't include your speech only?
correct. So that's
your 3, correct? Your 3-year speech for your 3?
No, it doesn't include the speech-only students. So a student who receives only speech therapy, and I have to pull up that slide again, if I can go back to that, if you don't mind. So I don't misquote. That is in the slide, correct? Yes. So the SPED population growth that we had seen, that is specific to teacher. So I pulled that growth so that teachers, so I knew hands were working with those students from the instructional side outside of speech therapy. So that was the growth is 63. But when we look at an entire growth of SPED population, when we put even our speech-only kids that we talk about, the ones that are just getting speech therapy services and nothing beyond that, then that would be our SPED, that's the 104% total growth.
Because what some may not understand is we get 3-year-olds who
We
just
do.
need speech that
Correct.
come into the community.
Correct.
They age out of ECI.
Correct, and we have a responsibility for that ECI transition to the LEA, and we have a responsibility to have that done. If they're currently receiving services through ECI, which is early child education or intervention prior to the age of 3, on their 3rd birthday, we have to have their evaluation complete and their ARD held for them to be able to begin services within our district on their 3rd birthday. So happy birthday, you've come to school.
Do whatever to prep.
Yes. We also serve 2-year-olds, and we serve birth to 3-year-olds in our VI world as well, so for our kids who have a visual impairment.
Are you doing home visits for your VI?
We do. Yep, we have, I think, currently 1 right now. We might have 2, so.
When we look at that 11.5% of our population is classified as special education, do we have any,
Right, for
but
sure.
have we looked at neighboring districts or statewide or nationwide, what the average is?
Yes.
Are we above? Are we below? Are we over identifying? Are we under identifying?
We are right in the neighborhood of where everybody is. I will talk Region 6. I do spend time in directors' meetings at Region 6, and we're all within the same range. Yeah, maybe 12%, some are at a 10%. Years ago, there was this invisible 8.5% cap that was perceived to be existing in the state of Texas. We cannot identify more than 8.5%, or therefore TEA would ding you, kind of a thing. So that is when the federal government did look into, and that's why Texas is under that corrective action. So you will continue to see an increase in the number of students who qualify for special education services based on where we are since that legislation. So.
I know I'm the broken record, but right now Texas is in the middle of the 88th legislative session.
Yes.
So if we have feedback, if we have comments for our representative, now is everyone's opportunity to take those concerns.
Yes.
And have your voice heard. The Senate Committee on Education meets on Wednesday.
There we go.
So get those emails in to your state
Yes, to your state representatives, yes. And again, I welcome the time with you all. Thank you for, oh, you have another question? Yes, sir? I thought he told me 10 minutes. And Lori told me I use all the words, and so I shortened, did I do okay? Thank you.
So what is the national average you quoted?
Oh, I don't know the national average. No, I don't know the national.
Being that we're the only state left that did not recognize.
Correct.
Yeah. It'd be interesting in our future meetings to know what the national.
Where we're gonna go?
Versus where we're going to go. If just future.
Absolutely, we can look at that, for sure.
us to discuss.
Yep.
Thank you for your help. And you made it.
I did. No, I did. But did I not use all the word? I did good. Okay. Yeah. I appreciate it again. Thank you all so much.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
They only took me 10 minutes.
Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, and despite all the external uncontrollable pressures on that department, you all always do what's best for kids and for every kid. So we really do appreciate that. We notice and parents notice. So just thank y'all for speaking up for all of our kids. So thank you for that. Switching gears a little bit, I'm going to have Dr. Powers come up and give a bond update for us.
Good evening, Board.
Okay. How are you, sir?
As you guys know, this planning for something like this goes back more than a year, but really this report is about activities since the board called the election in February. It involves 3 areas: digital, print, and our in-person activities. So digitally, our strategies really started with building a bond website. Key features to that site involve an FAQ, ins and outs of bonds, tax implication data, demographic data, voting and election postings and information related to the election. We produced a bond explainer video, covers school finance, bond processes, tax implications. The website has project pages, Each proposed project has its own page with descriptions and cost estimates associated with that, and a student impact if there is one with that project. And then, of course, links to voting information and other election postings. As you know, we produce a digital newsletter for parents, for community, and also for staff every month. We include bond information in that, but we're also producing special editions throughout the spring. So we did one in February, we did one in March. We'll do another one in April and another one in May, right before the election. We've incorporated Let's Talk to receive questions and feedback from the public. And of course, we'll use social media reminders, especially as we get close to those key dates. Early voting is the 6th of April. Registration is the 6th of April, and early voting is the 24th. Traditional print. You've seen the information cards. We produced thousands of those, and we're distributing those two-sided cards. We've translated all of those in English and Spanish. The posters that you see near the door on all of our campuses and at the central office, again, all translated. And this week we will have, we're utilizing the Every Door Delivered mail service through the post office. So we'll have mailers going out this week to everybody that lives within New Caney ISD. In-person presentations, of course, all campuses and departments. We're on the road show. We're hosting lunches for various groups, community groups, parent groups, really going back a year, but we're continuing those through the spring. We have a parent group breakfast actually this week. We're working with the Chamber of Commerce. We were a sponsor of their breakfast last month. We're going to sponsor their lunch next month, which gives us some time to present to that group. And we have planned 2 community presentations, one scheduled for March 27th at 6:30 at Porter First Baptist. Another one the following Monday at Bull Salas Park, that's April 3rd, also at 6:30. Key dates. April 6th is the deadline to register to vote. So we're pushing that. Early voting starts April 24th, runs through May 2nd. And one thing we've done this time around that we didn't do last time was we've added an early voting location for the entire 2-week early voting period, and that will be at the New Caney ISD central office. That's in addition to what the county typically offers, which is at Bull Salas, which is where it will be again. But we'll have that service also at New Caney ISD central office. Any questions about any of that?
Good job.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate it, Dr. Powers. Got a Guardian update to give, so Grant, looks like you're the guy. If you want to key up that video for us. It's okay if the sound doesn't work. I hate hearing myself talk. All right, thank you, Grant, for playing that, even though nobody likes to watch themselves on camera or hear themselves talk. So anybody want to do that again, I'll trade you. I can say that there are active guardians in our district. That program has gone live. So a specific date, no, but I can tell you that there are active guardians in our district. Second thing, I can say that our second group of guardians have already been scheduled to go through the training process. So we are adding to the numbers that have gone through the process in our district. And thirdly, I just like, everybody to know that video, it will be available on our website. It'll be on our YouTube channel. Dr. Powers and his team are going to put that in our staff newsletter that goes out to all of our staff. And then our community newsletter that goes out to approximately 20,000 folks. And so the information in that video will definitely be out there. As y'all saw in the video, the picture of the signs on our facilities right now, that is out there. So that's where we are with Guardian. I can say the program is live in our district, and we will continue this process, and we will continue to put that information out there. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Thank you.
All right, item 6 on the agenda is open forum. Nobody signed up. So item 7 is reports and proposals of board members. I don't think we have any. All right. Item 8 on the agenda is consent calendar consisting of consideration of minutes, consideration of finance reports, consideration of purchasing reports, consideration of personnel reports, and consideration of attendance rezoning. Any questions? Is there a motion to approve the items on the consent calendar?
So moved.
Motion moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved. Item 9 on the agenda is closed meeting. The board will now meet in closed meeting under the authority of Texas Government Code 551.074 for the purpose of personnel matters, Government Code 551.071 for attorney consultation, and Government Code 551.072 for land development and real estate issues. Any action as a result of the closed session discussion will take place after the board reconvenes in open meeting. The time is 7:16. The board ended its closed meeting at 8:06 p.m. and will now reconvene in open session. Mr. Calvert, do you have something?
Yes, sir. I'd like to take this opportunity to make a couple of introductions. No stranger to the district, but new. Same faces and some new places. So first is Ms. Ruth Ann Anderson. She is currently the assistant principal at Benz Branch Elementary, and next year she will be the principal at Benz Branch Elementary. So we're excited to announce that. Ms. Kelly is going to be the principal at Tavola next year. So Ms. Anderson, welcome to the chair at Benz Branch Elementary. And yes, it is. And then I'd also like to introduce again, very familiar face, new place, is Miss Lasagna Cobbs. She will be our new director of digital learning, and just very excited to see her continue her magic in the district, implement her vision for our kiddos and supporting them with the technology that we have. So looking forward to it, Miss Cobbs. Thank you so much. So appreciate it.
Okay. Item 10 on the agenda is consideration of approval of non-taxable entity fee for Porter Elementary School from Porter Mud, presented by Mr. Calvert.
Yes, sir. This is asking you all to approve fees to Porter Mud. As you know, this Porter Elementary School replacement is the last project in Bond 2018, so needing y'all to approve this so we can get the whole school hooked up with mud.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve non-taxable entity fee for Porter Elementary School from Porter Mud? Motion is moved and seconded. There be no further discussion. A vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved. Item 11 on the agenda is consideration of approval of land acquisition to build new elementary school campus, presented by Mr. Calvert.
Yes, sir. This is a deal we've been working on with the folks out at Tavola, specifically in the Tavola West development that is going on. Y'all know our facility study identified New Caney Elementary as needing a replacement campus. And so with this site in Tavola West, will be the site of New Caney Elementary. The bond order that passes this May, that is where the school will be built, and so this is that site for the replacement New Caney Elementary campus.
Is there any questions? Is there a motion to approve land acquisition to build new elementary school campus?
So moved.
Motion is the motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. Item 12 on the agenda is consider and take possible action to pursue a sanction for contract abandonment by a teacher at a teacher at Porter High School, presented by Ms. Gates.
All right, good evening. So before you, we have another consideration of an action item for, unfortunately, another contract abandonment, this time an English teacher from Porter High School. We did have a couple of meetings with this individual and tried to educate them on the decision that they were making to abandon their contract. Documentation was not provided to us to justify the breach of contract. And so, again, in an effort for us to try to be as consistent as possible and keep our teachers in the classroom where our students are, we did advise her that we would be seeking sanction with the State Board of Education. So we're asking you to consider that this evening.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve pursuing a sanction for contract abandonment by a teacher at Porter High School?
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved. Item 13 on the agenda is consideration of approval to change the date of the April regular board meeting presented by Mr. Calvert.
Yes, sir. We'd like for y'all to consider moving the April meeting date from the 17th to April 24th. Budget time, legislative session, all those fun things. And we just simply need more time with that April breakdown in there to bring things such as the comp plan and staffing and all that. So just ask that y'all consider bumping that meeting back a week to the 24th.
Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve changing the date of the April regular board meeting to April 24th, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is approved. There being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 8:11 p.m.